Ungrateful. There were hands in the air. There was. I don't need, this isn't a hip hop show. I'm not going to make you guys do more work than we do. I'm like a hip hop fan, but I hate a hip hop show. It's like I paid you money to perform. You're asking me to do more work than you're doing. Make noise, throw my hands in the air. Why don't you make some noise? It's true, right? Ego. All right. I think we're good. So, big round of applause for Chris. Let's welcome him.
All right.
Go ahead, take it away.
There we go. Let me give me a little more guts. There we go. Check. There we go. Hey, everyone. How's it going? Hope you're all awake and lively and re-energized with some lunch in your stomach. So I'll do my best to try to keep your focus and your attention for the next 30 to 40 or several hours. I don't know what my time frame is. I'm waiting for the blinking red light in the back of the room already, so we'll see how this goes. My name's Chris. I'm an application engineer at QSC, primarily in charge of doing system designs that come into us for the stuff working under David Fuller. When I'm not building arrays and E's Focus 2, I'm out demonstrating the TouchMix, and I think we just lost it there by killing all the lights. So for those of you that aren't aware, how many of you actually know that QSC makes a mixer now? So some of you, okay, fantastic. This is going to be a great experience for everyone then, and you should all leave here being TouchMix masters. There will be a quiz at the end. It'll be the TouchMix Master course. You'll get a certificate. There'll be an arm wrestling challenge. It'll be fantastic. We'll have a great time. So the TouchMix came about because really of the legacy of QSC audio. When you think about QSC, people really focus initially on the amplifiers. People think back. That's not going to work. It's a good shot, though. People most, primarily think of amplifiers because QSC has, a 40-year legacy of making amps. And then after you think of that, you think of loudspeakers because everyone here is familiar with the K-series and all that fun stuff that we're here. And now we got wide lines and several years of making fantastic sounding loudspeakers. But what's really missing? We're missing the source of the signal chain, which is why that led us to create our own mixer series, the TouchMix. And yeah.
Do we have a light on this?
There is no light on the camera, unfortunately.
Okay.
Is there a USB port around here?
Yeah, on the back of it. We can. Okay. If you've got a USB light. We're doing this on the fly, guys. Thanks for bearing with us. Let's see what happens. Let's see if this actually works. All right. That's barely.
Well, I hope you talk a lot about that corner.
This is going to be the most amazing corner of TouchMix ever talked about. All right. Well, that's fine. You guys can see that. So we started off, we wanted to design a product that gave all the power and the capability of a large format mixing console, but in something that was much more compact and easy to use. We needed to design it for every level of user. This wasn't a mixer that we wanted to put all the bells and whistles in, but you had to be a level 14 expert in order to be able to use the dang thing. And we didn't want it to be so simple that it was just an analog mixer because it has a lot more bells and whistles than that. So it's all about finding the medium, finding the in-between, finding the best user interface and the best user experience in order to make this a viable product for the market. So there's two models in the TouchMix line. There's the TouchMix 16, which is the model that I have here, and the ones that are in back for you guys to check out after I'm done. And there's the TouchMix 8, which will be shipping soon. It's actually right around the corner from release. The 16 is a 20-channel mixer. The 8 is a 12-channel mixer, just to really confuse the heck out of you guys on the I/O count there. But we did that because I'll talk about the 16 from here on out because the user interface is actually exactly the same between the 8 and the 16. But we called it an 8, we called it a 16 because that's how many preamp channels we give you, how many microphone channels up top. And then we give you the 2 additional stereo pairs on each mixer. We didn't take away from your preamp channels to give you stereo pairs. Part of our kind of no compromise outlook on building this mixer. So diving into this, you can see the beautiful touchscreen that we have here to my left-hand side. And the functionality that's built in here is fully featured. So there's a complete dynamic section on every single channel in the mixer with no processing trade-offs. So no matter how much processing you want to stack up on this mixer, it's never going to run out of power, say nope, can't do it, anything of that sort. So just by opening up a channel, actually I'm going to go ahead and load a default scene, and I'll get back to scenes here in a second because there's some viability to this. So you open up a channel, and you can see right away, shows you the EQ screen. You get a 4-band parametric EQ with high and low pass filters on every single channel. You also have a fully featured compressor and a gate. So right out of the bat, you there's a lot of times where you get, okay, here's the new volunteer at church, and he set up a home audio system once, so therefore he's an audio expert. So we're putting him in charge of the mix this week. So what we've done is we've included a simple function throughout this mixer to make it sort of easier for the less experienced audio user. If you look up in the corner, there's a button here that says simple on it. And just by a push of that button, my 4-band parametric EQ becomes a 4-knob EQ. So therefore, a guy can adjust it like he's adjusting a stereo. And it keeps all the extraneous info in the background. It tells you what your frequency is that it was dialed in. And if it's actually been changed, let's bump our 400 up to 724 for whatever reason. Put it back in simple mode, and it's going to stay there at 724. So it keeps all the sort of bells and whistles in the background, but makes it easier for the less experienced guy. You guys are going to love this next part because I'm sure everybody here knows how threshold, ratio, knee, all that fun stuff in a compressor works. But for the guy that just doesn't, who doesn't have any experience with that or wants to get up and running very quickly, you hit the simple button down here, and now you have a 1-knob compressor, and you can dial in your compression that easily. Just about any one of you guys can turn a single knob, I guarantee it. So the simplicity is really what I'm trying to drive home here. We really wanted to make this easy for any level of user, no matter what your experience is. So coming out of here, even the gate, same thing. You get a 1-knob gate if you want to dial it in that way. If it's going out for a rental application, this is fantastic because what you can do is just by pushing the menu soft button over here, I have the advanced and simple mode button. I can actually push simple, and now my entire mixer is in simple mode. I don't have to go section by section or channel by channel. So if I go back into my channel strip, everything is in simple mode, and I can just sort of dial through channel by channel and adjust what needs to be done there. Or if I'm going to go back and mess with it afterwards, I can put it back in advanced mode because it's going to drive me nuts if I only have 4 knobs on my EQ. So that sort of explains the idea of what TouchMix is. This kind of gives you the general introduction of what we're looking to do to make this a product that has all the bells and whistles. It has all those features in there, but now anybody can use it. So let's go even a step further. So now I've gone into my channel strip, and I need to get up and running quickly. The band is late. Right? I know it never happens, but we'll just say for sake of argument this one time, the band is running behind, promoter's on my ass to get up and running because we got to get the show going in 15 minutes or else something terrible is going to happen. I don't know. Figure it out yourself. So what we did is we developed a series of presets, and the presets that we put into the TouchMix were not designed with playback tracks in a sound-treated room through reference monitors in a studio. These are real-world presets. So if you look behind you, you see the series of or the big stack of K-series speakers that we have back there. We rented out live rooms, live studios, live music venues. We brought different musicians in, different styles, different instruments, different microphone configurations, different drum kits. We put the singer next to the drums, tried to create real-world feedback scenarios, and we created all the presets based off of real life, because if it's not a real-world preset, it's useless right out of the box. So when you go in here and you need to get up and running quickly, even if you're a seasoned professional, you can see here on my left-hand side here, I'm going to go, okay, I want kick drum on channel 1. So I'm going to go kick. I've got sub. So I want a rock kit. I'm not worried about a gate on this one. I'm going to hit recall preset. Yes, done. Now if I go back to my EQ is all set. My comp is ready to go. My gate's already set. So we've done all the hard work for you. We've given you 85, 90% of the work right out of the box with about 3 button pushes. So you don't have to set up your channel strip one by one anymore. I can go next button over, 2 needs to be a snare. So drums, snare, I want a bright rock snare, recall preset, done. And you can go channel by channel and quickly and efficiently set up your channel strips either ahead of time, the night before the show, if you know what your plot's going to be, or just do it on the spot, and it's going to take you minutes when it used to take you many minutes before that. So, you know, if you appreciate us saving you some time, feel free to send us a check, make it out to Chris Brouelette. I would really appreciate that because, you know, it's time saved for you is time saved for me. It works all around. It's scratching each other's backs. Nobody gets that metaphor, scratch my back here? Never mind, okay. You guys really asleep? Seriously? Okay. All right. Stick with me. It's going to get better, I hope. So from there, we're going to go through and actually have the entire band recalled, right? So now that I've gone through, theoretically, and set up every single channel one by one, I'm going to get the band up and running, so I'm going to go into, oh, actually, I jumped ahead of myself. I want to stay on that because now we'll say the entire scene is loaded now. We'll say I've gone through because I don't want to do that right this moment. And I've got all my vocals, I've got all my drums, all that kind of fun stuff is already there, but now what do I not have? I don't have any of the monitor sends of the band. The band can't actually hear themselves on stage. So let's talk about auxes. This 20-channel mixer has 10 auxes total on it. So you actually have 6 line-out auxes in the back of the unit here, XLR line-outs, because we wanted to give you XLRs instead of quarter inches, because people like XLR outs for auxes. Plain and simple. From there, we gave you an additional 2 stereo auxes on top, and these are dual purpose. These will actually drive in-ear monitors directly from the board without the need for a headphone amplifier. Or you can take them line out to a powered monitor or an amplifier, whatever you need to do. But if you think of it in this scenario, if you have 6 monitors, up to 6 monitors on stage, you can have the keyboard player and the drummer getting a stereo aux mix straight out of the board without needing any sort of a wireless system or anything of that sort. You just plug them right in, and if they're not jumping around on stage too much, it should work out pretty well. And you can have up to 6 monitors on stage or up to 3 stereo pairs if you want to link those together. So for kind of use case scenario for you guys, I actually play in a band where we have 5 members in the band that all have stereo in-ear monitor mixes. The keyboard player and the drummer in our band are plugged directly into the TouchMix from the aux outs on tops. And then the other 3 guys, we have wireless systems that come out of the back. And we get literally a full, basically a CD quality aux mix directly to us while we're on stage, and this is all we have to bring to the show with us. Yes? The 2 aux outs on top, are they independent mixes or are they parallel? They are independent mixes. So you have aux 7, 8, and aux 9 and 10, and you can mix those separately. So as you can see, if I touch on aux 1 here, we've given you full aux control. So every single aux has its own 3rd octave graphic EQ, limiter, which is fantastic for those in-ear monitor systems, and a 4-band notch filter that you can also use as a high and low pass filter if you want to create a band pass and run auxes, run subs from an aux, things of that sort. It's typically those big mixer features that you don't get on a small board like this. In addition to that, you can save presets. So if somebody's working with a monitor mix or a monitor EQ from in a church scenario where it's the guy likes to have absolutely no 2.5 or whatever it is, he just doesn't like to hear it, you can just save that for that guy and recall it the next time, because presets abound. Also in the setup menu, you have the ability to put in up to 100 milliseconds of delay time. So you can put delay fills in your room, you can time delay your mains to your subs, all that kind of fun stuff. And because we wanted to make it simple in setup for everybody, as we've been talking about, we have a button here called or for the QSC speaker settings. You push that, and if you're using K-series, if you're using KW series, if you're using KLA, it tells you exactly where to set the gain on the back of the mixer, or the back of the speaker, so that you're matching your gain structure from the output of the mixer. You don't have to actually know how to set up your gain structure. We did it for you. So let's talk about gain structure a little bit coming out of that. So in a real world, let's say I've actually reloaded a scene, right? And I'm going to go ahead and pull up a scene that I've worked with from the band that I played with last week. But how do I know that my gain structure is going to work? Because what I have is these 16 beautiful analog preamps that were custom designed for this mixer right across the top, but these are analog preamps. These are not digital preamps. You do have an additional 12 dB of digital gain per channel in this mixer that can be saved in the scene and the preset. However, we all live by our analog trims right up top. So how do I know those are going to work with my scene every single time or my particular preset? Well, what we did is we included a wizard button up here. Push the wizard. It does not call a unicorn. It calls up either the effects wizard or the gain wizard. So I'm going to push the gain wizard button, and I'm also going to cue up the band. The band, if you guys can bear with me, the band is in the next room, okay? So we're going to listen to the band that's going to start here in a second. 3, 2, 1, hit it, Steve. Anything? Steve's lagging today, apparently. Either that or I did not set my output. Okay, I've got audio. I should have audio. Oh wait, what just went out? It would help if I... All right, there we go. Now we're up. Don't look at me that way. All right, I don't appreciate that. So the band's in the next room, and they're up and running. We're doing a sound check. But what we did is we included a gain wizard. What the gain wizard is a real-time analysis of the incoming audio into the board. So if I'm trying to set up on my main page, I'm kind of paying attention to my input source, and I'm going, okay, I dial that up until I get to sort of a nominal gain position. But, you know, maybe during sound check, the drummer feathered it a little bit. Now that we're getting into performance, he's actually slamming a little harder. Don't mean to pick on any drummers, but it's been known to happen. If we go back into our gain wizard, we're going to see, okay, we've got some clipping happening, and this is letting us know we've got a 1 on our screen and some occasional clipping happening on that particular channel. If you've got heavy clipping happening, you're going to see 2, 3, 4, 5. You've got some nastiness coming in on that channel that's degrading the quality of your audio coming out of the mixer. So follow the gain wizard and just dial it back, hit reset. And we all know that occasional clipping is not a terrible thing. So if you see some ones every now and then, it's not bad, and you can dial it back until you get into a nominal gain position. So this is teaching people how to set gain structure from the wizard without even having to know what gain structure is. You can just follow what the wizard tells you to do, and now you're in the same nominal gain position that you were the last time you used that scene or the last time you used that preset. So those scenes and those presets are going to work every single time for you. The other wizard that we included is our effects wizard, because naturally you want to sweeten up the mix after you get done, but maybe you don't want to go channel by channel and actually dial in your effects one at a time. You can pull that back out, pull that down just slightly here. You can go ahead and go to the effects tab on every single channel and dial in reverb for that particular channel or delay from any one of the 4 included stereo effects engines. There's 2 delays, 2 reverbs, a chorus, and a pitch shifter that are included in the TouchMix. So of those 6 effects, you can have any combination of 4 of those effects running at any given time with sends to those effects from all 20 channels. How many of you are with me after I said that? Everybody get it? There will be a quiz. I hope you're ready. No? Okay. So if I want to go channel by channel and set up my effects, I can do that. That's fine. Or I can just go to the effects wizard, hit the effects wizard button, and this is going to tell me or give me a series of presets. I can go in and select a plate, and I can assign that to some overheads, my toms, my snare, and maybe my vocals, hit recall, and it's going to do all that effects assignment for me. I don't have to go channel by channel. So again, it has all those bells and whistles. You can get into that effects engine just by hitting the effects master tab, hitting effect 1, and now you can see I've got my complete processor that's on effects channel 1. I've got a dense reverb here, or a delay. These are the ones that are just preset in the scene, and I can dig in and adjust those if I want to, but I don't have to do that. I can just recall a preset, assign it to a channel, and it's going to get the ugly work out of the way right out of the box. So you can literally come to a show, set this on top of your case, load up a preset, load up the gain wizard to set your gain structure, and use the effects wizard, and you don't have to know anything about audio, because all you need to do from that point on is just adjust level. You know, it does everything except for auto mix for you, which, you know, I hope you guys can do a little mixing, because that's just one of those things you need to know how to do. So the simplicity of this thing is by and far the best aspect of the TouchMix. The functionality is there. It has all the bells and whistles. A few of you guys have talked to me about the DCA groups. We do have 8 DCA groups in our 20-channel mixer. Even the TouchMix 8, the 12-channel mixer, has 8 DCA groups. I know you're going to love that. Because you can just stack, you know, any number of channels or auxes, or even the mains together to be able to give you that global volume and mute control. In addition to the DCAs, you have 8 mute groups that are recallable from the soft button up here that are just as easily assignable. You just, with a couple of button pushes, you can assign a drum mute just that quickly. And now every time I hit mute groups and go mute 1, I've just muted the entire drum kit that quickly. Some of the other cool functionalities, you do have an aux matrix wizard, or aux matrix, there's not a wizard. You do have an aux matrix in here, so you can actually see how all your auxes are routed. And if you have the iPad app, because you can actually function the TouchMix remotely with an iPad, you also have an aux mix on faders control, so you can mix in an independent aux or stereo aux from the iPad directly from the TouchMix without the need for an external router, because we do include, I'm going to unplug that, the Wi-Fi dongle that is plugged into the USB port in the back actually comes with the TouchMix. This is its own network hub. So if you hit menu, you go mixer setup. Now you can all see my really fancy, super top secret password. I hope none of you try to hack into my TouchMix today. But it's very simple, you know, to set up. The iPad app is free in the App Store, so all you have to do is just log in, download it, connect to it just like you would any other Wi-Fi network on your iPad with the password, and you are up and ready to run in no time flat. You can have, yes? You are jumping the gun on me, but I will address that. We actually are in development of the iPhone and Android apps that will be available early next year. We have a new firmware version coming that we've just recently announced. Firmware version 2.0 for the TouchMix will be available at NAMM next month. And that will give the ability to have iPhone and Android connectivity for monitor control. And that gives you really kind of a separate kind of control, because the iPad app is fully functional. Everything that I can control from the mixer, aside from the analog trims, because those are physically on the top of the board, everything that's accessible from the front panel is accessible from the iPad app. So anywhere you walk around in the room, and I don't know if I mentioned, you can have up to 12 iPads connected at one time. So everybody in the band can control their own monitor mix, which is pretty killer. Or you can go down to the iPad store, buy every iPad that they have, and just have an array of iPads around you if you really want the full, like, giant console experience. That's up to you guys. But the way the monitor app is going to function is that it'll actually ask the TouchMix for permission to use that aux. And then you can assign the ability to only control that aux, or have mains control, or have control of the onboard recorder, because the next thing that I want to talk to you guys about is the USB port. The second USB port in the back here is for an external hard drive, because you also have a standalone 20-channel multi-track recorder built into the unit that you can capture your live performance with. Just by hitting the record play button, you can arm a track or several tracks, all to record at one time. And as long as you have a USB 3.0 drive plugged into it, you will be able to multi-track, record, and playback on this mixer, which is pretty amazing. So that functionality will be available to be controlled via the phone app as well, or obviously you can control it via the iPad app. It records in a 32-bit WAV format file, so you can put that into Cubase, Pro Tools, Logic, any DAW of your choice, and do any post-mixing, or you can actually keep that session on your hard drive, play it back next week if you want to use it as a, like a virtual sound check device to make sure that the band's going to sound great through a new PA system. Or if it's in a scenario where it's going, perhaps you're training a new person how to EQ and how to mix sound, you can play last week's session through, stick them in a corner with headphones, and they don't actually have a band playing live to learn how to mix, or to learn how a compressor works, or how the EQ works. You can actually just sit them in a room and let them go to town and figure it out, or show them how it's done. So really cool functionality there. And we do have a list of approved hard drives on our website. The really cool thing about our application engineering team, I myself, work in that team, so we're doing technical support and getting those technical questions all day long from users that have the TouchMix. We have an online forum, so if you go to QSC.com, you can actually go onto our forum where we have an FAQ. We have a very active forum community of people that ask us questions about the mixer, have feature requests about the mixer, and there's actually things that are coming in our firmware version 2.0 next month that were created and put into the mixer because of user requests. We actually listen to our customers and are making changes pretty quickly and effectively in firmware updates based on what people are looking for. So you know that as you guys are getting these mixers out there or playing with these mixers yourself, that if you see something that seems like it would be an apt thing to change, you can let us know. And our development team works on it and sees what we can do about it. So we try to be on top of that stuff. So be aware that as you get out there, we do have a series of training videos. So if you go to the YouTube page, you go to the QSC page, which takes you to the YouTube page, you can watch actually a series of training videos on the TouchMix that will teach you how to use it before you even get it in front of you, which is pretty fantastic. Our education team is great at getting these very functional, very easy to understand videos. And a lot of the people that are buying these end up experts on them before they even show up at their front door. So that support community is there to back up this product, because we know that this is a, there's at this point lots and lots and lots and lots of them out in the community and in the hands of people, and we want to make sure that they're taken care of and feel the QSC love the way that QSC likes to make people feel. So you guys have any questions so far? Anything? Yes?
As far as the recording feature,
yes.
do you have the ability to switch between pre and post EQ and fader and that kind of thing?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's actually, you can select the pickoff point for recording, which is in the, see, and I actually haven't addressed that in a while, if it's in the setup of the channel. Source track. Yes, it's essentially, no, it's in the record section. This is actually an experimental, oh, no, there's session, there we go. So you've got pre and post EQ and dynamics there. This is an experimental firmware update, so a couple things are a little different than I'm used to. But yes, yeah, that is in there. And that way you can actually record completely dry if you want to and put it into whatever your DAW is for processing.
I don't know if it's the same question.
Mm-hmm.
Are we also able to save what we're seeing on our USB in case if we take it on
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. When you get into the menu for your scene section, you can see I've got my internal USB memory here, and then I've got external. So if I plug in a thumb drive, I can save all my scenes, all my presets, all that stuff onto an external USB drive. And if I'm going to a different venue that also has a TouchMix, I can just plug that right in and load it up, and I'm ready to go. And it's actually, the scenes work cross-platform from the 8 and the 16. So if you load up a scene on the 8 and you put it into the 16, it's going to load up, and vice versa. But if you put a 16 into the 8, then you're going to be missing 8 channels, obviously. It doesn't turn your 8 into a 16 magically or anything of that sort. Any other questions, guys? Or do y'all just want to get your hands on one in the back of the room now? All right. Yep, so if anything else, yes? Yes, the user-defined buttons right now, as it comes in version 1, you'd be able to scroll through channels this way. This is a queue clear, so if I have things queued up in my headphones, I can clear the queue. And then if I have any clipping happening, U2 is a clip clear. The user assignability of those is coming in firmware version 2.0, where you'll be able to assign that to a myriad of different functions in the unit. As well, there is an Ethernet port. It's actually not an Ethernet port. It's just an RJ45 port for a foot switch that will also be coming for the TouchMix that will essentially give you similar functionality. So the same user button control, the assignability, quick control if you want, external effects mute, all that kind of fun stuff. You can do that from the foot switch. Yes? Yeah, tap tempo is actually included on the, so I believe that was a delay. So if I hit the tap tempo button here, that turns into and they just covered it up. There you go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that becomes your tap tempo button built into the unit. Yeah, you at this point you have to go. Yeah, there will be a function you can actually assign the user button to do that, or at least take you directly to the page where you can grab that effect or grab that tap tempo, that kind of a thing. The depth of the user assignability is still broadening. So. Oh, on the yeah, no, this one on the down tap, because music typically works on a downbeat most of the time, I think. One very cool thing that I can't believe I actually overlooked for you guys, and I'm sure a lot of you will appreciate this. You will notice we have this sort of kind of interesting power supply. It does come with the power supply, obviously, and as a segue there, side note, it does also come with the case. You actually get the carrying case included with it in the box when you purchase it, so you get the dongle, the power supply, and the case. But the power supply is a very unique power supply. It's got separate voltage rails. It keeps the noise floor on this mixer very quiet, and also gives you the ability to have individually selectable phantom power on each channel. So all you have to do is select which channel you want phantom power on, and it works. So you're not selecting global phantom power, or for a group of channels, you can select which channel you want it on, and you're up and running. Again, this is part of the no compromise section of this mixer, making sure it works. So no matter what you throw at this thing, as many EQs and effects and all this fun stuff that you want to stack up into it, it's always going to function for you. We built it to last. The touchscreen on these, for the few months that we've had them out there, people have been beating them up, and I've been a beta tester for one for the better part of this entire year. And these things run like champions after getting carted around and beat up and thrown around in cases and sent to gigs and dropped at gigs and all that kind of stuff. So we developed a fantastic product here, and I hope you guys kind of really enjoy getting into it, because this is the beginning of a product line for QSC. We didn't get into this product line just to develop 2 mixers and then get out of it. So there will be more coming. There will be a lot of cool control, the ability to have expandable modules and things that are coming down the road. These are standalone mixers in the meantime. So for any of you guys interested, if these can be expanded or linked together, that functionality will be coming later as we work on it. But this is the starting point for QSC. Yes. As I mentioned, that's for a upcoming foot switch that will be able to be plugged in for essentially more user function control. There are some other goodies in development for that port that I haven't been able to talk about yet. So, yeah. So, cool stuff coming. Yes. Well, it's a standard IC on the other end. The actual power supply itself is this, essentially a laptop brick. So we already do. Yeah, they're already available on our website. And actually, we just, about a week and a half ago, started selling the rack mount kit for it as well. So there is a rack adapter to be able to put this into a slant rack or put it into a wall or any kind of road case you want to take it out on. That works. It's the same rack adapter for both the 8 and the 16. And also, this side of the room behind the light is very quiet. Nothing from you guys? All right. Yes? Yeah, it's just the unit itself, and actually that's a good question. I can kind of expand on, because there's some cool stuff in 2.0 that's coming that expands the Wi-Fi capability. The included dongle gives you ad hoc network connection, so which is great for Android devices and things of that sort. Great for Apple devices. Android devices don't operate on ad hoc network. But ad hoc is like a peer-to-peer connection. It's made for like talking from one phone to another phone. And the range is limited. You can get about 60, 65 feet out of the dongle before you start to run out of room. So in 2.0, what we have coming is there's going to be 4 different functions that will be available. You'll have the ad hoc network capability that comes standard in it now. You'll have the ability to use the included dongle as a wireless access point for actual Wi-Fi connectivity. which would be a lot more stable for Android devices. You'll have the ability to use the included dongle to connect to an existing Wi-Fi network. So if you're in a club or a venue and you show up, you can actually connect the TouchMix to the network, connect any iPad or iPhone device to the network as well, and they will communicate to each other over the existing network. Or option number 4, with a USB to Ethernet adapter, you can just go ahead and plug in your own, oh, there we go. You can plug in your own router to it and have your own complete wireless, secure wireless access point. And you can run that router anywhere so that you have greater range for your TouchMix. So again, that's a 2.0 function that's coming next month. All right. Is that it, guys? Well, that's about all I got for you. There are 4 of these units floating around and back, so when we do get a break, feel free to come back and get your hands on with one. It is a TouchMix. We do insist that you touch it at least a little bit because it is pretty fun to dive around in and check out. So thank you guys very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Chris. So we're going to take a little bit of a longer break here because we want you guys to be able, if you want to hear the House of K speakers, we're going to demo them. So if you guys want to hear anything right now is a good time. Any other questions for Shure or Yamaha, now's a good time because after this break, we're going to let them start packing up, at least that stuff that's in the back. And then we'll get right back to the Yamaha CL and QL consoles after that. And remember, stick around. Obviously, a lot of education and all that, but we will be giving away the ULXD towards the end of the day for the raffle and all that stuff. So, cool. You guys got 15, 20 minutes. Enjoy yourselves.